Captain Marcus Webb stood at the observation deck of Luna Station, watching the alien ships move through space like silver ghosts. The vessels were massive, each one the size of Manhattan, with surfaces that seemed to bend light around them. He had been waiting for this moment his entire military career, but nothing could have prepared him for the sight of genuine alien technology. "Sir, they're requesting permission to dock," came the voice of Lieutenant Sarah Miller from the communications station. Her hands trembled slightly as she operated the controls. The entire station crew had been on edge for 3 days since the alien fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system. "Grant them permission," Marcus replied, adjusting his dress uniform. Today would mark the most important day in human history. He turned to face Dr. Amanda Foster, the lead scientist who would accompany him to the first contact meeting. "Are you ready for this, Doctor?" Amanda nodded, though her face showed the same nervous excitement that everyone felt. She was Earth's top expert on theoretical xenobiology, but all her years of study were just guesswork compared to what they were about to experience. "As ready as anyone can be for meeting beings from another world," she said. The alien ship that docked with Luna Station was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It moved with perfect smoothness, making no sound as it connected to their airlock. Marcus could see strange symbols glowing along its hull, writing in a language that no human had ever seen before. When the airlock opened, the aliens stepped through with the grace of dancers. They were tall, nearly 7 feet in height, with skin that looked like polished crystal. Their faces were angular and sharp, with eyes that glowed with a soft blue light. The leader wore what appeared to be robes made of flowing metal that changed color as he moved. "Greetings, primitive beings of Earth," the alien spoke. And somehow Marcus understood every word despite knowing the creature had never learned English. "I am Ambassador Veltar of the Great Catherian Empire. We represent the Galactic Federation, a union of civilized species that spans this entire galaxy." Marcus stepped forward and offered his hand in greeting, but the alien simply looked at it with what might have been amusement. "I am Captain Marcus Webb of the United Earth Defense Force. We welcome you to our solar system." Veltar made a sound that could have been laughter. "Your solar system is already cataloged in our databases, Captain Webb. Your species has only recently developed the ability to leave your home planet. You are what we classify as a Level 2 civilization, barely above the technological level, of tool-using animals." The insult stung, but Marcus kept his face neutral. He had been warned by Earth's diplomatic corps that first contact might not go smoothly. "We may be new to space travel, but we've achieved much in our short time among the stars." "Indeed," Veltar said, his glowing eyes scanning the station around them. "Your accomplishments are adequate for such a young species. This is why the Galactic Federation has decided to offer you a gift." Dr. Foster stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her nervousness. "A gift? What kind of gift?" The alien ambassador turned his attention to her, and Amanda felt as though she were being examined under a microscope. "You must be one of their knowledge seekers," he said. "Yes, we have brought you something that will help your species learn about the greater galaxy. It is an act of charity, you understand. The Federation believes in helping less fortunate civilizations." Marcus felt his jaw tighten at the condescending tone, but he forced himself to remain diplomatic. "We appreciate any assistance you can provide." Veltar gestured toward the viewport where his massive ship waited. "We have brought you a vessel. It was once an exploration ship used by civilizations far more advanced than your own. It has served its purpose and is no longer needed by its previous owners. We thought it might serve as a learning tool for your engineers." Amanda's eyes widened with excitement, despite the alien's patronizing attitude. An actual alien spacecraft would be an incredible opportunity for human science. "May we examine this vessel?" "Of course," Veltar replied. "In fact, we insist upon it. Your species must understand the vast gap between your current capabilities and true galactic civilization. Perhaps this demonstration will help you accept your place in the natural order. The alien ship that Veltar showed them was enormous beyond belief. The Titan's Rest, as it was called, stretched 15 kilometers from end to end. It looked like a city floating in space, with multiple sections that seemed to have been built by completely different architects. Some parts gleamed like mirrors, others looked rough and industrial, and still others seemed to be made of materials that hurt to look at directly. Commander Jake Mitchell, Earth's chief engineer, joined them for the inspection tour. As they walked through the ship's corridors, he ran his hands along the walls and examined the strange machinery with growing fascination. "This is incredible," he whispered to Marcus. "I've never seen technology like this." Veltar overheard and smiled in a way that didn't seem friendly. "Yes, this vessel represents the combined knowledge of 12 different galactic civilizations. Of course, most of the systems are incompatible with each other. The various species who contributed to its construction never learned to work together effectively. That is why the ship was decommissioned. They entered a massive chamber filled with machinery that defied understanding. Pipes and cables ran in every direction, connecting devices that seemed to serve no purpose. Lights blinked in patterns that made no sense, and strange humming sounds came from equipment built into the walls. "As you can see," Veltar continued, "much of the technology is damaged or obsolete. The quantum cores from the Nexari civilization are burned out. The defensive systems from the Zephyrian Empire are completely incompatible with the power distribution network installed by the Corvani. The navigation computers were built by 3 different species and cannot communicate with each other." Jake examined a control panel covered in symbols from at least 4 different writing systems. "So this is basically a collection of broken parts from different aliens?" "An excellent summary," Veltar said with obvious satisfaction. "We estimate that it would take your species several centuries to understand even the most basic systems aboard this vessel. By that time, of course, the technology will be even more obsolete than it already is." Marcus began to understand what was really happening. This wasn't a gift at all. It was a demonstration designed to show humans how far behind they were compared to galactic civilization. The aliens expected Earth to struggle with their generous offering and eventually come begging for help. Lieutenant Colonel Lisa Parker, who had been quietly observing the entire exchange, stepped closer to Marcus. As Earth's top military strategist, she had been analyzing every word and gesture from their alien visitors. "Captain," she whispered, "I think we need to be very careful about accepting this gift." But Marcus was already forming his own conclusions. He looked around at the impossible maze of alien technology surrounding them and felt something that Veltar probably didn't expect. Instead of being intimidated, Marcus felt excited. This wasn't just a collection of broken alien junk. It was the greatest technological library that humanity had ever been offered. "Ambassador Veltar," Marcus said finally, "we accept your generous gift with gratitude." The alien's crystalline features showed satisfaction. "Excellent. We will transfer the vessel to your custody immediately. Do not hesitate to contact the Galactic Federation when you require assistance in understanding your limitations." As the aliens prepared to leave, Dr. Foster pulled Marcus aside. "Do you really think we can figure this out?" Marcus looked back at the vast chamber of alien machinery and smiled. "Doctor, I think they just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. They gave us exactly what we needed to surprise them." The aliens departed Luna Station confident that they had demonstrated their superiority over humanity. They expected to return in a few years to find humans overwhelmed by technology they couldn't understand. What they didn't realize was that humans had something the galaxy had never seen before: the stubborn refusal to accept that anything was impossible. 3 weeks after the aliens left, the Titan's Rest had become the busiest place in the solar system. Captain Marcus Webb watched from the observation deck as dozens of shuttles carried teams of engineers, scientists, and technicians to the massive alien vessel. What Ambassador Veltar had dismissed as worthless junk was now humanity's greatest project, Dr. Robert Chen stood in what used to be the ship's main engineering bay, surrounded by computer screens showing thousands of alien components. He had been working 18-hour days since the project began, mapping every single piece of technology on the ship. His team had already cataloged over 50,000 different parts, each one representing knowledge from civilizations that were older than human history. "This is amazing," Robert said to his assistant, Dr. Jennifer Martinez, as they examined a power coupling that seemed to bend space around itself. "Look at this design. The Corvani built this to channel energy through folded dimensions. We don't even have theory for this yet." Jennifer nodded, her fingers dancing across her tablet as she recorded measurements. "But look at how it connects to the Nexari quantum core. The power flow is completely inefficient because these two civilizations never designed their systems to work together. That was the pattern they found everywhere on the ship. Brilliant technology from dozens of different species, all built with different principles and unable to communicate with each other. The aliens saw this as proof that cooperation was impossible. Humans saw it as the greatest engineering challenge. In history, engineer Sarah Williams was working 3 decks below them, studying what the aliens had called the most damaged section of the ship. She crawled through narrow passages between massive machines, taking readings with instruments that could barely understand what they were measuring. Most of the equipment down here was supposedly broken beyond repair. "Hey, Mike!" she called to her partner, engineer Mike Thompson, who was wedged behind a control panel. "Hand me that quantum scanner. I want to check something." Mike passed her the device, wiping sweat from his forehead. The environmental systems in this section had been offline for who knows how long, making the work hot and difficult. "Find anything useful in that mess?" Sarah pointed her scanner at 3 different quantum cores that sat side by side like sleeping giants. According to the alien records, these cores were from 3 different civilizations and had burned out decades ago. But Sarah's readings told a different story. "Mike, these aren't burned out at all," she said with growing excitement. "They're just not getting the right kind of power. Look at these energy patterns. Each core is designed for a completely different type of quantum field." Mike crawled over to look at her scanner readings. He had been an engineer for 15 years, but alien technology still made his head spin. "So what are you thinking?" Sarah was already sketching diagrams on her tablet, her mind racing with possibilities. "What if we don't try to make them work with alien power systems? What if we build human interfaces that can give each core exactly what it needs?" The idea was crazy. Human technology was primitive compared to alien systems. But Sarah had noticed something that the aliens seemed to miss. Human engineering was designed to be adaptable. Earth's engineers had learned to work with whatever materials they had available. They built bridges that could handle earthquakes, computers that could work in space, and machines that could be repaired with basic tools. Alien technology was incredibly advanced, but it was also incredibly specialized. Each piece was designed to work perfectly within one specific system. When that system changed or broke down, the technology became useless. Humans built things differently. They built things to last, to adapt, and to work with whatever else was available. Captain David Thompson was coordinating the largest salvage operation in human history. Ships from every nation on Earth had volunteered crews for the project. Former enemies worked side by side, sharing knowledge and resources in ways that would have been impossible just months before. "Dr. Martinez," David called over the communication system. "We need your translation team in Section 7. We found some kind of instruction manual, but it's written in 4 different alien languages." Jennifer Martinez had become humanity's expert in alien communication systems. She had developed new computer programs that could analyze alien writing and find patterns that human minds could understand. It was slow work, but every breakthrough revealed new possibilities. "On my way, Captain," Jennifer replied, gathering her team of linguists and computer specialists. They had learned to work fast. Every day brought new discoveries that could change everything. In the ship's central command center, Colonel Mike Rodriguez was studying tactical displays that showed the alien vessel's original capabilities. Even broken and abandoned, the Titans. Rest had been designed as a warship. Its weapon systems came from military technologies that could destroy entire planets. "This is incredible," Mike said to his intelligence team. "Look at these weapon configurations. The aliens mounted energy cannons from the Zephyrian Empire right next to missile systems from the Corvani fleet, but they never figured out how to coordinate them." His second-in-command, Lieutenant Tom Davis, pointed at the display. "Sir, what if that's not a bug but a feature? What if we could make these different weapon systems work together instead of fighting each other?" Mike smiled grimly. He had been a soldier long enough to recognize opportunity when he saw it. The aliens had given humanity access to the greatest weapons technology in the galaxy, and they had done it because they were too arrogant to imagine that humans might succeed where they had failed. Dr. Amanda Foster was working in what had once been the ship's biological research labs. The aliens had used this section to study life forms from across the galaxy, and the equipment here was beyond anything Earth had ever built. But Amanda was more interested in something else she had discovered. "Marcus, you need to see this," Amanda said when Captain Webb visited her lab. She led him to a wall covered in alien displays showing brain scan patterns. "I've been studying the neural interface systems that the original crews used to control this ship." Marcus looked at the strange patterns flowing across the screens. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" "These are brain scans from 12 different alien species," Amanda explained. "Each one shows how they interfaced with their own technology. But look at this." She pointed to a human brain scan that she had taken of herself. "Human neural patterns are completely different. We don't just interface with one type of system. Our brains are designed to adapt to anything." Marcus began to understand what she was saying. "You mean humans could potentially interface with all of these alien systems?" "Not just interface with them," Amanda said with growing excitement. "We could coordinate them. Human brains evolved to handle multiple complex tasks at the same time. We're natural multitaskers in ways that these specialized alien species never were." As word of these discoveries spread through the research teams, the mood on the ship began to change. What had started as an overwhelming challenge was becoming something else entirely. Humans weren't just learning to understand alien technology. They were learning to improve it. Sarah Williams made the breakthrough that changed everything. Working with components from 6 different civilizations, she managed to create a power distribution system that could adapt to any kind of alien technology. Her system didn't try to make alien components work like human technology. Instead, it learned what each component needed and provided exactly that. "It's like a universal translator," Sarah explained to the gathered research teams, "but for energy instead of language." The implications were staggering. With Sarah's adaptive power systems, any alien technology could potentially work with any other alien technology. The barriers that had kept galactic civilizations separate for millions of years might finally be broken. Dr. Robert Chen realized that humanity had been given something unprecedented. The Titan's Rest wasn't just a broken alien ship. It was a complete technological museum representing the best achievements of dozens of civilizations. And humans, with their adaptable minds and flexible engineering, might be the first species, capable of understanding all of it. "We're not just fixing this ship," Robert told Captain Webb during their daily briefing. "We're creating something that has never existed before, something that combines the best ideas from across the entire galaxy." Marcus looked out at the teams of humans working throughout the massive alien vessel. In just 3 weeks, they had made more progress than the aliens thought possible in 3 years. The condescending gift was becoming humanity's greatest achievement. But Marcus knew this was just the beginning. The real test would come when the aliens returned to check on humanity's progress. They expected to find humans overwhelmed and defeated by technology too advanced to understand. Instead, they were going to find something that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. 18 months after the aliens left their gift, the Titan's Rest looked like nothing that had ever existed in the galaxy. Captain Marcus Webb walked through corridors that hummed with hybrid energy, watching human engineers work alongside. Machines that combined technologies from 12 different civilizations. What had once been a collection of incompatible junk was now becoming something that defied every rule of galactic engineering. The ship's exterior hull bristled with weapon systems that would have made alien military commanders weep with envy. Energy cannons from the Zephyrian Empire sat next to missile launchers from the Corvani fleet, all connected by Sarah Williams' adaptive power distribution network. But these weren't just alien weapons anymore. Human engineers had modified every single system, improving designs that alien civilizations had considered perfect for thousands of years. Commander Jake Mitchell stood in the main engineering bay, watching his teams put the finishing touches on the ship's new command center. The room looked like something from a fever dream, with control surfaces that flowed like liquid metal and display screens that showed information in 3 dimensions. But every confusing alien interface had been modified with human controls. That actually made sense. "Captain, you have to see this," Jake called as Marcus entered the bay. He gestured toward a massive display that showed the ship's power output in real time. "We're getting energy efficiency rates that the original alien designers said were theoretically impossible." Marcus studied the numbers, shaking his head in amazement. "How are we doing this, Commander?" "It's all about the connections," Jake explained, pointing to a 3-dimensional diagram of the ship's power systems. The aliens built each system to work perfectly by itself, but they never thought about making them work together. When we connect a Nexari quantum core to a Zephyrian energy projector through our adaptive interfaces, the combined output is greater than the sum of its parts. Dr. Amanda Foster joined them, carrying a tablet filled with biological research data. She had been studying how human neural patterns interacted with alien control systems, and her discoveries were reshaping everything they thought they knew about galactic technology. "Marcus, we need to talk about the neural interface system," Amanda said. "What we've discovered changes everything." She led them to a testing chamber where volunteer human pilots were learning to control alien systems through direct brain connections. The setup looked frightening, with cables running from complex alien machinery directly into helmets worn by the test subjects. But the results were incredible. "Watch this," Amanda said, nodding to Lieutenant Sarah Miller, who was connected to the ship's navigation system. Without touching any controls, Sarah began moving the massive alien vessel with just her thoughts. The ship responded to her mental commands with perfect precision, maneuvering through space like a fighter aircraft, despite being 15 kilometers long. "The aliens never developed this kind of human-machine integration," Amanda explained. "Their brains are too specialized. They can interface with their own technology, but they can't adapt to systems built by other species. Human brains are different. We're natural pattern recognizers and problem solvers. We can learn to control any system, no matter how alien it is." Lieutenant Colonel Lisa Parker had been watching the demonstrations with growing excitement. As Earth's top military strategist, she understood the implications better than anyone. "Doctor, are you saying that humans can control alien technology better than the aliens who built it?" "Not just control it," Amanda replied. "We can coordinate multiple alien systems simultaneously. A single human pilot can manage weapons from 6 different civilizations, all at the same time. No alien species has ever been able to do that." The proof was all around them. In the ship's weapon testing bay, human gunners were learning to fire energy weapons that combined Cytherian focusing crystals with Zephyrian power cores and human targeting computers. The resulting weapons were more accurate and more powerful than anything any single alien civilization had ever built. Dr. Robert Chen was working in the ship's new research lab, analyzing combat data from the weapon tests. The results were so impressive that he had to check his calculations 3 times to make sure they were correct. "Captain Webb," Robert called over the communication system, "you need to see these test results. Our modified weapons are producing energy outputs that are off the charts." Marcus made his way to the research lab, where Robert had filled several screens with combat analysis data. The numbers were staggering. Weapons that the aliens had considered moderately effective were now producing devastating results. "How is this possible?" Marcus asked. "It's the targeting systems," Robert explained. "The aliens built incredibly powerful weapons, but their targeting was designed for their own reflexes and thought patterns. When we connect those same weapons to human neural interfaces and human tactical computers, the accuracy increases by over 300%. Dr. Jennifer Martinez was working on an even more ambitious project. She had been developing translation, systems that could allow different alien technologies to communicate with each other directly. Her breakthrough came when she realized that human language processing could serve as a universal translator between alien systems that had never been designed to work together. "Look at this," Jennifer said, showing Marcus a display where alien computers from 4 different civilizations were sharing data in real time. "I created a translation protocol based on human linguistic patterns. Now systems that couldn't even recognize each other's existence can coordinate their operations." The implications were staggering. Defensive systems from different alien civilizations could now work together, layering their protective fields to create shields stronger than any single technology could produce. Propulsion systems from multiple species could coordinate their effects, allowing the ship to move faster and more efficiently than its original designers had ever imagined. Engineer Mike Thompson was testing the ship's new propulsion array, which combined 5 different faster-than-light drive systems. The aliens had told them this was impossible. Different FTL technologies were supposed to interfere with each other, making combined systems unstable and dangerous. "Captain, we're ready for the propulsion test," Mike announced over the ship's communication system. Marcus made his way to the bridge, where human officers sat at control stations that looked like works of art. The command chairs were connected to neural interface systems that allowed the crew to think their way through complex operations. Display screens showed information in ways that human minds could process intuitively, even when dealing with alien concepts that had no human equivalent. "All systems ready, sir," reported navigator Tom Davis, his mind connected directly to the ship's combined navigation systems. "We're cleared for FTL jump." "Engage," Marcus ordered. The ship didn't just jump to faster-than-light speed. It danced through dimensions that most species couldn't even detect, using propulsion technologies that had never been designed to work together. The combined drive systems pushed the Titan's rest through space at velocities that broke every known record for spacecraft movement. "Sir," Tom reported with excitement in his voice, "we just traveled 50 light-years in 12 minutes. According to our databases, that's faster than any known alien vessel." But speed wasn't the only improvement. The ship's defensive systems had been transformed into something that no alien military had ever imagined. Shield generators from different civilizations worked together, creating protective barriers that could deflect any known weapon. When one shield failed, others automatically compensated, creating defensive capabilities that were virtually impenetrable. Colonel Mike Rodriguez was overseeing the installation of the ship's new combat systems. Human tactical thinking had revolutionized alien military technology, creating weapons and defenses that no single civilization could have developed alone. The aliens built their military systems to fight wars the way their species naturally thinks, Mike explained to his staff officers. But humans fight differently. We adapt to our enemies. We use whatever works. When we apply that thinking to alien weapons, we get capabilities that no alien military has ever seen. The ship's crew quarters had been redesigned to accommodate human neural interface systems. Pilots could now connect to multiple ship systems simultaneously, coordinating operations that would have required entire alien crews. A single human could manage weapons, navigation, communications, and defensive systems all at once, something that alien physiology made impossible. Dr. Foster's research had revealed why humans were so uniquely suited to this kind of multi-system coordination. Human evolution made us persistence hunters. she explained to the senior staff. Our brains developed to track multiple targets, coordinate complex group activities, and adapt to changing situations. Those same abilities make us perfect for controlling hybrid alien technology. As the 18-month mark approached, the Titan's rest had become something entirely new. It wasn't just a human ship with alien components or an alien ship with human modifications. It was a true hybrid, combining the best aspects of human thinking with the most advanced technology from across the galaxy. The ship's computer systems had been completely redesigned using human programming principles. Instead of the rigid, specialized systems that aliens preferred, the new computers could adapt to any situation and learn from experience. They could coordinate with any alien technology they encountered, turning potential enemies into additional resources. Captain Webb stood on the bridge of his transformed ship, looking out at stars that now seemed much closer than they had 18 months ago. The aliens had given humanity what they thought was worthless junk. Instead, they had provided the foundation for technology that would reshape the galaxy. "Sir," Lieutenant Parker said, studying intelligence reports from Earth, "we're receiving word that the Galactic Federation is planning to return. They want to check on our progress with their gift." Marcus smiled, thinking about Ambassador Veltar's arrogant assumption that humans would be overwhelmed by alien technology. The ambassador was about to learn that humans had a talent that no other species in the galaxy possessed, the ability to make anything work better than its original designers had ever imagined. 2 years after they had left their generous gift, the Galactic Federation returned to Earth's solar system with the confidence of beings who had never been proven wrong. Ambassador Veltar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the primitive human space stations through displays that could see across dimensions. Behind him, a fleet of 200 warships waited in perfect formation, ready to demonstrate the power of true galactic civilization. "Admiral Kexvol," Veltar said to the military commander beside him, "begin scanning for the derelict vessel we left with these humans. I expect we will find it in much the same condition as when we departed." Admiral Kexvol was a veteran of countless campaigns against primitive species who had foolishly resisted Federation authority. His crystalline features showed the same, amused confidence that Veltar displayed. "My sensors detect the vessel near their largest moon, Ambassador. However, the readings are unusual." "Unusual how?" Veltar asked, though he was not particularly concerned. Humans were a level 2 civilization. Even 2 years of study could not have prepared them for technology that had taken other species millennia to develop. "The energy signatures are much stronger than expected," the Admiral replied, studying his tactical displays with growing confusion. "The vessel appears to be fully operational, which should be impossible given the extent of the damage to its systems." Veltar made the sound that passed for laughter among his species. "These humans are remarkably persistent. I will grant them that. They have probably managed to activate some of the simpler systems. It will make our demonstration all the more effective when we show them what real technology can accomplish." Captain Marcus Webb received the alien fleet on Luna Station just as he had 2 years before. But everything else had changed. The human officers who accompanied him wore uniforms that incorporated alien materials, making them stronger and more comfortable than anything Earth had produced before. Their equipment included communication devices that could translate any known language, and scanners that could analyze matter at the quantum level. "Ambassador Veltar," Marcus said as the alien delegation came aboard, "welcome back to our solar system." The alien ambassador looked around Luna Station with barely concealed disappointment. He had expected to find humans overwhelmed and desperate, ready to beg for Federation assistance. Instead, the station showed clear signs of improvement and expansion. New sections had been added using construction techniques that seemed to blend human and alien approaches. "Captain Webb," Veltar replied, "we have returned to evaluate your progress with the learning tool we provided. I trust you have gained some appreciation for the complexity of galactic technology. We have indeed learned a great deal, Marcus said with a smile that made the alien somewhat uncomfortable. Would you like to inspect our progress? Dr. Amanda Foster and Commander Jake Mitchell joined the inspection party as they traveled to the Titan's Rest. The alien ship that awaited them bore little resemblance to the derelict vessel they had left behind. The hull gleamed with modifications that seemed to flow like living metal. Weapon systems projected from the surface in configurations that defied conventional design principles. Most disturbing to the aliens, energy readings showed power levels that exceeded anything in their own fleet. "What have you done to our gift?" Admiral Kexavol demanded as they docked with the transformed vessel. "We improved it," Jake replied, simply leading them through corridors that hummed with perfectly coordinated energy. The walls displayed information in multiple alien languages simultaneously, while the air itself seemed to carry data streams that human neural implants could read directly. Ambassador Veltar stopped walking when he saw the ship's new bridge. Human officers sat at control stations that blended technology from dozens of different civilizations, managing systems that no single alien species had ever imagined working together. The central command chair was connected to neural interface, systems that allowed the human captain to coordinate the entire ship through direct thought. "This is impossible," Veltar whispered, his crystalline features showing the first signs of genuine alarm. "These technologies cannot work together. Our greatest scientists have proven that such integration would cause catastrophic system failures." Dr. Foster stepped forward, her tablet displaying data that made the alien admiral's eyes widen with shock. "Your scientists were wrong, Ambassador. They assumed that different technologies couldn't work together because their species couldn't make them work together. Humans think differently." Lieutenant Colonel Lisa Parker had been watching the aliens carefully throughout the inspection. As Earth's intelligence chief, she had spent 2 years preparing for this moment. "Captain Webb," she said quietly, "our sensors are detecting weapons charging throughout the alien fleet." Marcus was not surprised. Earth's intelligence services had learned much about Galactic Federation tactics during their research into alien databases. This inspection was not about evaluating human progress. It was about taking control of technology that the aliens had never intended humans to keep. "Ambassador," Marcus said in a calm voice that carried clearly through the bridge, "I believe it's time we discuss the real reason for your return." Veltar's diplomatic mask finally slipped, revealing the arrogant predator beneath. "You have contaminated valuable archaeological specimens with your primitive modifications. The Galactic Federation cannot allow such destruction of galactic heritage to continue." Admiral Kexavol stepped forward, his hand moving toward what was clearly a weapon. "By the authority of the Galactic Federation, I claim this vessel and all alien technology in your possession. Your species will be relocated to a more suitable world where you can develop without interfering with civilized technology." The trap had finally sprung. The aliens had never intended their gift to be permanent. They had expected humans to fail, but even human success was just another excuse for conquest. The Federation's real goal had always been to study human capabilities, and then eliminate any potential threat. But Marcus was smiling, and that worried the aliens more than anything else they had seen. "Computer," Marcus said calmly, "activate Protocol 7. The ship's systems responded instantly to his voice command. Throughout the solar system, previously hidden energy signatures began appearing on alien sensors. What the Federation had taken for human space junk and industrial equipment suddenly revealed itself as a fleet of hybrid vessels, each one built using the same principles that had transformed the Titan's Rest. Lieutenant Sarah Miller, now serving as the ship's communication officer, looked up from her station with barely concealed excitement. "Sir, all vessels report ready. Phoenix Wing is in position behind Jupiter. Liberty Squadron has emerged from the asteroid belt. The Washington and her escorts have just decloaked near Mars. Admiral Kexavoll stared at his tactical displays in horror as 47 human vessels appeared on his sensors. Each one showed the same impossible energy signatures as the transformed Titan's rest. His fleet of 200 ships suddenly seemed much smaller. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Your species lacks the resources to build a single interstellar vessel, much less an entire fleet." Commander Jake Mitchell answered with obvious pride in his voice. "We didn't build new ships, Admiral. We rebuilt old ones. Earth's orbital shipyards have been full of supposedly worthless spacecraft for decades, derelicts from failed missions, experimental vessels that never worked properly, even old military ships that were scheduled for scrapping. We applied the same principles we used on your gift to everything we could find." Dr. Robert Chen joined the conversation from his science station. The abandoned mining platform near Saturn is now the battleship New Horizon. The old generation ships that never made it past the asteroid belt have been converted into carriers. We even turned a defunct space casino into a heavy cruiser. Captain David Thompson's voice came over the communication system from his position, aboard the hybrid destroyer Dallas. "Sir, the alien fleet is beginning to spread into attack formation. Should we respond?" Marcus looked directly at Ambassador Veltar, his expression no longer showing any trace of diplomatic courtesy. "Ambassador, I believe your admiral just made a very serious mistake. You came here expecting to find humans overwhelmed by technology we couldn't understand. Instead, you find us armed with weapons you never imagined possible." Veltar's crystalline skin had taken on a pale, frightened hue. "Captain Webb, surely we can resolve this misunderstanding diplomatically. The Federation has no desire for conflict with your species. The time for diplomacy ended when your admiral threatened to relocate my people," Marcus replied. "You gave us the tools to defend ourselves, and now you're going to discover what humans do when someone threatens our home." Colonel Mike Rodriguez's voice came through the ship's speakers with military precision. "All human vessels, this is Defense Command. Weapons free. Engage on my mark." The Galactic Federation had spent millions of years conquering primitive species with overwhelming technological superiority. They had never faced an enemy that could turn their own advantages against them. They were about to learn that humans had a talent that no other species in the galaxy possessed: the ability to take whatever they were given and make it into something deadly. Admiral Kexavoll realized too late that his fleet had fallen into a trap. The humans had not just survived the Federation's test. They had used the test to prepare for war against opponents who had considered them nothing more than amusing primitives. "All ships," the Admiral commanded with growing desperation, "engage the human vessels immediately. Show these primitives the power of true galactic civilization." Marcus Webb looked out at the stars where two civilizations were about to clash, in a battle that would determine the future of the galaxy. The aliens had given humanity their greatest gift without realizing it. They had taught humans to stop thinking of themselves as the weak species on the edge of space. Now they were going to learn what happened when humans stopped being afraid. The space around Earth became a battlefield unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral Kexavoll's fleet of 200 Federation warships faced 47 human vessels that defied every known principle of military engineering. What should have been an easy victory for galactic civilization was about to become a lesson in human ingenuity that would echo across the stars. All Federation ships, Attack Formation Delta 7, Admiral Kexavoll commanded from his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. His tactical display showed the human fleet spread across the solar system in what appeared to be random positions. "These primitives do not understand proper military formations. We will destroy them systematically." Captain Marcus Webb stood on the bridge of the humans' resolve, watching alien warships move into the battle formations that had conquered 1,000 worlds. The Federation fleet was beautiful and terrifying, each vessel a perfect example of advanced alien engineering. But Marcus was no longer intimidated by alien perfection. "All human vessels, this is Webb," he announced across the communication network that linked their hybrid fleet. "Remember your training. These ships are built for fighting other aliens. They're not built for fighting us." Commander David Thompson responded from the hybrid destroyer Dallas, his voice steady despite the massive enemy fleet bearing down on them. "Roger that, Captain. Human ingenuity versus alien arrogance. I like our odds. The first Federation attack came exactly as Earth's military analysts had predicted. Catherian energy beams lanced across space with perfect precision, targeting human ships with weapons that could slice through any known armor. The aliens expected to see human vessels vaporized by technology they could never hope to defend against. Instead, the human ships seemed to dance away from the attack beams like leaves in the wind. Their hybrid propulsion systems allowed impossible maneuvers, combining multiple alien drive technologies to move in ways that violated conventional physics. What should have been devastating hits became near misses as human pilots used their natural adaptability to pilot ships in ways no alien mind could imagine. "Impossible!" Admiral Kexval snarled as his weapons fire failed to find targets. "No ship can maneuver like that while maintaining weapons lock." But the human ships were doing exactly that. Lieutenant Sarah Miller coordinated the humans' resolves, evasive maneuvers while simultaneously targeting 3 different alien vessels. Her neural interface allowed her to think her way through complex combat operations that would have overwhelmed any alien crew. "Target acquired on the Federation cruiser Stellar Pride," Sarah reported. "Weapons charged and ready." "Fire," Marcus commanded. The humans' resolve unleashed a barrage that combined energy weapons from 6 different alien civilizations, all coordinated through human targeting systems. The resulting attack was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Catherian focusing beams merged with Zephyrian plasma cannons and Nexari quantum torpedoes, creating a weapon system that no single alien species could have developed. The Federation. Cruisers' shields, designed to deflect attacks from familiar alien weapons, collapsed instantly when hit by the hybrid barrage. The ship itself survived, but its weapons and propulsion systems were completely destroyed, leaving it floating helplessly in space. "Sir," reported the tactical officer aboard the Eternal Dominion, "the human attack just penetrated our Type 7. Energy shields. Those shields are rated to stop anything short of a planetary defense cannon." Admiral Kexavol stared at his displays in disbelief. Human weapons were supposed to be primitive slug throwers and chemical explosives. The Federation had expected to face an enemy armed with technology barely more advanced than thrown rocks. Instead, human vessels were using alien weapons more effectively than the aliens who had built them. "How are they coordinating those weapon systems?" the Admiral demanded. "Different alien technologies cannot work together," his science officer, a Catherian named Zalneth, was scanning the human ships with every sensor available to Federation technology. "Sir, the humans appear to be using some kind of universal interface system. They are making technologies from completely different civilizations work together as if they were built by the same species." The battle was quickly becoming a nightmare for the Federation fleet. Human ships appeared wherever they were least expected, using hybrid propulsion systems to attack from angles that should have been impossible. Their weapons struck with devastating accuracy, guided by human neural interfaces that could coordinate multiple targeting systems simultaneously. Captain Jennifer Martinez commanded the hybrid battleship New Horizon, a vessel that had once been a failed mining platform. Her ship mounted weapons that made Admiral Kexavol's flagship look like a toy. "Humans resolve. This is New Horizon. We have multiple Federation vessels attempting to retreat. Should we pursue?" "Negative, New Horizon," Marcus replied. "Let them run, but make sure they take a message back to their superiors." The hybrid vessel Washington, under the command of Captain Tom Davis, was demonstrating why human tactical thinking was so effective against alien military doctrine. Instead of engaging in the formal ship-to-ship duels that alien cultures preferred, the Washington was coordinating attacks with 3 other human ships, overwhelming individual Federation vessels with combined firepower that no alien admiral had ever faced. "Sir," Davis reported, "Federation Squadron 7 is attempting to surrender. They claim their weapons are no match for our technology." Marcus had expected this. Alien military culture was based on technological superiority. When that advantage was removed, alien commanders had no idea how to continue fighting. "Accept their surrender, Captain, but keep them under guard." Dr. Amanda Foster was monitoring the battle from the Humans' Resolve Science Station, analyzing how alien psychology was affecting the combat. "Captain, the Federation crews are becoming increasingly demoralized. Their entire military doctrine is based on overwhelming primitive species with superior technology. They have no training for fighting an enemy with better weapons than their own." The truth was becoming clear to everyone involved in the battle. The Galactic Federation had never faced real military opposition. For millions of years, they had conquered primitive species through simple technological intimidation. Their tactics were designed for destroying helpless opponents, not for fighting actual wars against competent enemies. Colonel Mike Rodriguez commanded the defense of Earth itself from the hybrid Fortress Liberty Station, which had once been a commercial space dock. His weapon systems could have destroyed entire Federation fleets, but the alien ships were already retreating too quickly to present good targets. "All human vessels, this is Defense Command," Mike announced. "Federation forces are withdrawing from the inner system. Total enemy casualties: 67 ships destroyed, 48 ships damaged and surrendering. Human casualties: 0. The numbers told the story of a battle that would reshape galactic history. The mighty Galactic Federation, conquerors of 1,000 worlds, had been utterly defeated by a species they had considered barely worthy of notice. Human vessels, armed with hybrid alien technology, had proven more effective than anything the galaxy had ever produced. Admiral Kexvol sat in, his command chair aboard the battered Eternal Dominion, staring at tactical displays that showed the complete destruction of his fleet. 2/3 of his ships were gone, and the survivors were fleeing in panic. In his entire military career, he had never imagined that such a defeat was possible. "Admiral," his communication officer reported with a trembling voice, "the humans are transmitting a message." Captain Webb's face appeared on the main display, looking calm and confident despite having just won the most important battle in human history. "Admiral Kexavol, I believe you and Ambassador Veltar have learned something important today. Humans do not respond well to threats." The Admiral found his voice after several moments of stunned silence. "How is this possible? Your species was barely capable of spaceflight when we first encountered you." "You gave us the tools we needed," Marcus replied. "You assumed that because other species couldn't make different technologies work together, humans couldn't either. You were wrong." Ambassador Veltar appeared beside the Admiral, his crystalline features showing an emotion that Marcus had never seen in an alien before: genuine fear. "Captain Webb, surely we can reach some accommodation. The Federation is prepared to offer your species full membership in galactic civilization." Marcus smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. "Ambassador, you had your chance to treat humanity as equals. You chose to see us as primitives to be controlled or eliminated. Now you're going to discover what happens when primitives refuse to stay primitive." The surviving Federation ships jumped to faster-than-light speed, carrying news of their defeat back to the galactic core. Behind them, they left a human fleet armed with weapons that had proven superior to anything galactic civilization could produce. Dr. Robert Chen was already analyzing the battle data, looking for ways to improve human technology even further. "Captain, we captured significant amounts of Federation equipment and data during the battle. With this information, we can begin developing new hybrid systems that will be even more effective." Marcus looked out at the stars where his fleet waited in perfect formation. 2 years ago, Humanity had been a single world on the edge of space, unknown and ignored by galactic civilization. Today, they had proven that human ingenuity could overcome any technological challenge. But Marcus knew this victory was just the beginning. The Galactic Federation would not accept defeat easily. They would return with larger fleets and more advanced weapons, confident that superior numbers could overcome human innovation. They would learn that humans had one more advantage that no alien species possessed: the absolute refusal to give up when defending their home. The news of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire, carried by refugees from Admiral Kexvol's defeated fleet and by communication networks that the Galactic Federation could not control. On 1,000 worlds, species that had lived under Federation rule for millennia heard impossible stories about primitives from a backwater planet who had destroyed the most powerful military force in known space. Captain Marcus Webb stood in the communications center of the humans, resolve, watching reports flood in from across the galaxy. His tactical display showed Federation forces withdrawing from dozens of star systems as local populations rose up in rebellion. The defeat at Earth had shattered the illusion of Federation invincibility that had kept the galaxy under control for millions of years. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Sarah Miller, "we're receiving messages from over 200 different species requesting assistance. They want to know how humanity defeated Federation technology." Dr. Amanda Foster was analyzing the incoming communications, trying to understand the scope of what was happening. "Marcus, this is bigger than we thought. The Federation wasn't just controlling Earth, they've been suppressing technological development across the entire galaxy." The truth was becoming clear through intercepted Federation communications and testimony from surrendering alien officers. For millions of years, the Galactic Federation had maintained power by ensuring that no species could develop technology beyond certain limits. Any civilization that became too advanced was either absorbed into the Federation or quietly eliminated. Humanity had broken that pattern by doing something that no other species had managed: taking Federation technology and making it more effective than the Federation could use it themselves. Commander Jake Mitchell was coordinating with Earth's industrial facilities to begin sharing human hybrid technology with other species. The process was complicated because most alien civilizations had been trained to think that different technologies could not work together. "It's like teaching them to see color for the first time," Jake explained to Marcus during their daily briefing. "These species have been told for so long that cooperation between different technologies is impossible that they can't imagine alternatives." Dr. Jennifer Martinez had become humanity's chief diplomat, using her translation skills to communicate with species across the galaxy. Her work was revealing the true scope of Federation oppression and the possibilities that human innovation could create. "Captain," Jennifer said, "I've been in contact with a species called the Corvani. They're the ones who built the missile systems we've been using. They want to know how we made their weapons work with Catherian energy systems." "Show them," Marcus replied. "The more species that understand human integration techniques, the stronger the resistance to Federation control becomes." Engineer Sarah Williams was leading teams that traveled to other star systems, teaching alien civilizations how to combine technologies that their species had never imagined working together. Her universal power distribution system was becoming the foundation for a new kind of galactic civilization. "The results are incredible," Sarah reported from the Corvani homeworld. "When these species learn to integrate their technologies with systems from other civilizations, their capabilities increase exponentially. They're developing weapons and defenses that exceed anything the Federation ever built." But the Galactic Federation was not accepting defeat quietly. Intelligence reports showed massive military buildups in the galactic core, where Federation leadership was assembling fleets that dwarfed anything they had ever deployed before. Ambassador Veltar had returned to the Federation capital with tales of human capabilities that Federation leaders refused to believe. Lieutenant Colonel Lisa Parker was coordinating intelligence gathering across multiple star systems, building a network of contacts among species that had joined the growing resistance movement. "Captain," Federation forces are massing for a counterattack. They're bringing in ships from sectors we've never seen before." "How many ships?" Marcus asked. "Over 10,000 vessels, sir. They're calling it the final pacification fleet." The numbers were staggering, but Marcus was not intimidated. Humanity had learned something important during their first battle with Federation forces. Advanced technology meant nothing if the beings using it could not adapt to new situations. Captain David Thompson was commanding the expanding human fleet, which now included vessels built by allied species using hybrid technology principles. The Free Species Alliance, as the resistance movement was calling itself, was growing stronger every day. "Captain Webb," David reported from the bridge of his flagship, "we now have operational coordination with 47 different species. Their combined fleets include over 3,000 vessels, all equipped with some form of hybrid technology." Dr. Robert Chen was working with alien scientists to develop new technologies that no single species could have created alone. The cooperative research projects were producing innovations that were reshaping the understanding of what was possible in galactic engineering. "We're seeing breakthroughs that are beyond anything in Federation databases," Robert explained to the assembled human command staff. "When you combine human adaptability with alien knowledge from dozens of different civilizations, the result is technology that seems like magic, even to us." The real breakthrough came when Dr. Foster made contact with a species that the Federation had been hunting to extinction: the Architects. These beings had been the galaxy's greatest engineers before the Federation rose to power, capable of building structures that spanned entire star systems. They had survived by hiding in spaces between dimensions, but human communication techniques finally allowed contact. "Marcus, you need to hear this," Amanda said, her voice filled with excitement. "The Architects have been watching humanity since we first received the Titan's Rest. They say we're the first species they've encountered that thinks like they do. The architect who appeared on their communication screen was unlike any alien humanity had encountered. Its form seemed to shift between different geometric shapes, as if it existed in more dimensions than human minds could perceive. When it spoke, the words seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Humans of Earth," the architect said, "you have accomplished what we thought impossible. You have taught the galaxy to think beyond the limitations that the Federation imposed. We offer our knowledge to your cause." The Architect databases contained engineering principles that predated Federation civilization by millions of years. With this knowledge, human engineers could build ships that existed partially outside normal space, weapons that attacked through dimensions the Federation could not defend, and defensive systems that made entire fleets invisible to enemy sensors. Captain Marcus Webb found himself commanding not just a human fleet, but a galactic alliance that included species from across known space. The Federation's final pacification fleet was impressive, but it was still built using the same rigid thinking that had failed against human innovation before. "All Allied vessels," Marcus announced across the communication network that now linked. "Hundreds of different species. This is Humans Resolve Actual. The Federation fleet has entered our sensor range. They outnumber us 3-1, but they're still thinking like the galaxy's bullies instead of soldiers." The battle that followed would be remembered as the moment when galactic civilization changed forever. Federation forces attacked using tactics that had conquered 1,000 worlds, expecting overwhelming numbers and superior technology to crush the rebellion before it could spread further. Instead, they faced an enemy that fought, using principles they could not understand. Human-led fleets coordinated attacks through dimensional channels that Federation sensors could not detect. Allied vessels used hybrid technologies to appear and disappear from normal space, striking at enemy formations that had no defense against dimensional warfare. The Federation's rigid military doctrine, perfected over millions of years of conquest, collapsed when faced with tactics that no single species could have developed. Human adaptability, combined with alien knowledge from dozens of civilizations, created a form of warfare that the Federation had never imagined possible. Admiral Kexvol, commanding the Federation fleet from the Super Dreadnought Galactic Order, watched his forces disintegrate under attacks that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. "Our sensors show enemy vessels that exist in 7 dimensions simultaneously." His science officer could only report what their instruments detected. "Sir, the humans appear to have developed technology that allows them to coordinate military operations across multiple dimensional planes. Our weapons cannot target enemies that exist partially outside normal space." The battle ended with the complete destruction of the Federation's final pacification fleet, 10,000 ships, representing the greatest military force in galactic history, were defeated by an alliance that had not existed 6 months earlier. Captain Webb addressed the galaxy from the bridge of the humans' resolve, speaking to communication networks that reached every civilized world. "People of the galaxy, the age of Federation oppression is over. Today marks the beginning of a new era where cooperation replaces domination and innovation replaces stagnation. The Galactic Federation, reduced to controlling only a few core systems, attempted to negotiate a peace treaty that would preserve their remaining power. Ambassador Veltar, his crystalline features showing the defeat that had broken his spirit, offered humanity a place of honor within the new Federation hierarchy. Marcus's response was broadcast across the galaxy. "Ambassador, the Federation's time is over. The galaxy no longer needs rulers who suppress advancement and prevent cooperation between species. We offer you the same choice we've given everyone else. Join the Free Species Alliance as equals, or remain isolated with your failed ideology." The transformation of galactic civilization was swift and comprehensive. Species that had been enemies for millennia learned to work together using human integration principles. Technologies that had been jealously guarded by their creators became shared resources that benefited everyone. Dr. Williams established the Galactic Technology Exchange, where species could share their innovations and learn to combine them with technologies from other civilizations. The result was an explosion of advancement that exceeded anything the galaxy had seen in its entire history. The humans' resolve, once dismissed as worthless alien junk, became the flagship of the Free Species Alliance and the symbol of what cooperation could accomplish. Earth, which had been an unknown world on the edge of space, became the center of a new kind of galactic civilization. Captain Marcus Webb stood on the bridge of his ship, looking out at stars that now represented hope instead of conquest. The aliens had given humanity a gift they thought was worthless, expecting it to demonstrate human limitations. Instead, it had become the foundation for a galaxy where every species could reach its full potential. The Galactic Federation had learned too late that their greatest mistake was not underestimating human technology. Their greatest mistake was failing to understand that humans saw opportunity where others saw only problems, and that humanity's greatest strength was the refusal to accept that anything was impossible. The galaxy would never be the same.